This amateur film was made in the period from January to April 2012. It is composed of 5 parts and tells about Indian masters, saints, enlightened beings, avatars, gurus and their ashrams. It speaks about the places where these gurus arranged and are still giving satsangs, and about the places where some of them were buried. In the first part, you will get acquainted with Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, Ramesh Balsekar, Sri Ranjit Maharaj, Swami Bhagawan Nityananda from Ganeshpuri, Jiddu Krishnamurti, Sri Mata Amritanandamay, Sri Subhananda. In the second part, you'll get acquainted with Ramachandra Bhat, Swami Ramdas, Swamigal, Sri Aurobindo The Mother. In the third part, you will get acquainted with Ramana Maharshi, Radha Ma, Temple Sai Baba from Shirdi, Sri Shiva Shakti Ammaiyar, Sri Satya Sai Baba. In the fourth part, you will get acquainted with Sri Brahmam. In the fifth part, you will get acquainted with Devraha Baba, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ISKCON, Halilol Poonjaji Papaji. Nothing can replace knowing yourself. Indian masters and their ashrams. Second part. In the second part, you'll get acquainted with Ramachandra Bhat, Swami Ramdas, Swamigal, Sri Aurobindo The Mother. If the seer merges with the seen, identification disappears. Ajja. Ramachandra Bhat, Ajja, was born 15th June 1916. He spent his childhood in a rustic Indian province. It was filled with rural economic concerns and hard work. The youth was extremely hard-working. He was well-versed in all aspects of village life. He was a specialist in growing vegetables and breeding cows. He knew how to build houses using a masonry of mud, grew nuts and rice. Ajja got married and lived a normal daily life. In 1952, his body was suddenly pierced by a strong pain in the chest, pain of unknown origin. All his activities came to a full stop. The man couldn't move neither hand nor foot. But instead of seeking relief from pain, he totally accepted it. And suddenly the pain disappeared. Ajja started to explore who felt the pain. The pain came to him only because of the mind which felt. The next exploration he undertook was the clarification of the reasons for slavery. And an answer came to him. Whatever is done with motives and a feeling of a doer is in fact the reason for slavery. Ajja started self-inquiry, who am I? And all external feelings became dead. Thus, leaving gross and subtle bodies and life force in causal body, he stepped over the threshold of death. Not far from the town Puttur, Ajja founded an ashram, Ananda Kutira. Ajja was a very affordable and cheerful teacher. He willingly took part in different happy holidays. Now, Ajja's ashram is a quiet, cozy place. Among the greenery of a beautifully maintained garden is a 2-story hut where Ajja's followers placed on the couch waxwork of the teacher. Here, in this modest hut, Ajja was sitting and giving darshans. In the interiors of the ashram, there are many Ajja's photos, images of his feet and eyes. Particularly strikes the eye the photo montage. Here is Ajja with Mahatma Gandhi. Here he is with Nityananda. During his life, Ajja treated with great respect Mahatma Gandhi. There is even Gandhi bust in the ashram. It is emphasized that Ajja had visions where Mahatma Gandhi's image was present. The disciples made collages to stress Ajja's link with these teachers and by this to raise the status of their guru. In general, in Ajja's ashram, these inventions of his followers are even interesting. What only to say about Ajja's portrait placed in the armchair and creating an impression of Ajja's body himself sitting in it. Ajja left his body in December 2007. Perceive yourself as an instrument in God's hands who is doing His work in His own way. Swami Ramdas. In the town Kanhanghat, which is in the south of India, state Kerala, is situated an ashram of the famous Swami Ramdas. This master is much more famous in the West than in Russia. Vital Rao, real name of Swami Ramdas, was born in the state Kerala in 1884. From his early years, he worked as a weaver at a cotton mill. In 1908, Vital Rao got married. In youth, Ramdas often experienced difficulties both financially and in home life. In search to facilitate his position, he started to chant Ram, praising the name of Hindu god. Having heard that, and getting convinced in the piety of the son, Ramdas' father, according to the Indian tradition, gave him an ancient secret mantra praising Rama. Since that time, repetition of the mantra filled all the time and thoughts of young Ramdas. Very fast, he started to separate himself from material world and worldly pleasures. One fine day, Vital Rao took sannyas, became a wandering monk, and took the name Ramdas, servant of Ram. Repeating his mantra, he went on a pilgrimage to holy places. Swami Ramdas wandered with alms bow, but he never accepted money. He regarded the world as manifestation of the form of Lord Rama. Swami Ramdas saw God's will in everything. In 1922, he met the sage Ramana Maharshi. It was a key meeting in his life. According to Ramdas, Maharshi just looked at him, and something turned in his perception of the world. After that, Swami Ramdas went to a retreat and during 21 days lived in solitude in a cave of Arunachala mountain. Coming out of the cave, he was fully aware that everything was Rama and nothing but Rama. This profound experience and Ramana Maharshi's blessing, according to the memories of Swami Ramdas, erased completely his personality, having replaced it with awareness of oneness. After that, Swami Ramdas lived for many years as sannyasi and went around practically all sacred places of India. He became widely known, especially in the West, after the publication of the book In Search of God, where he described all his travels. Swami Ramdas had many disciples. Many of them became famous teachers and authors of numerous books on yoga and self-knowledge. Among them we can notice Mataji Krishnabai, Swami Satchitananda, Swami Mudrananda and many others. In 1931, devotees of Swami Ramdas created an ashram in the town Kanhangarh, state Kerala, which they called Ananda Ashram. According to them, the ashram was open to improve the living conditions of local population and thanks to the desire to share general love and service. Nowadays, Swami Ramdas Ashram includes a whole complex of buildings. Here are a central hall, a temple, rooms for meditation, a library, a big cowshed, spacious dining room, kitchen, information center, and much more characteristic of a big, developed Indian ashram. In the main meditation hall, you can see cut from cardboard figures of Swami Ramdas and his closest disciples, Swami Satchitananda and Mataji Krishnabai. Daily Hindu religious ceremonies, pujas, aratis, chanting, prostrations, and distribution of prasad take place in front of these figures. In the ashram, there are many photos of Swami Ramdas and some other masters such as Swami Vivekananda, Ramana Maharshi, Paramahamsa Ramakrishna and others. Everywhere is cleanliness and order. Everything is well maintained, filled with the spirit of traditional Indian ashram, with reverence, peace, clouds of incense and chantings. As in other ashrams, there is a central tree of the ashram which gets a considerable part of love and reverence. On the ashram's territory, there are samadhis, shrines of Swami Ramdas himself and also burial places of Mataji Krishnabai and Swami Satchitananda. Daily traditional clockwise bypasses are made around these shrines. Swami Ramdas is famous in the USA and Europe as the main popularizer of the slogan, "Be here and now." On the level for which it was conceived, it works very well as a reminder of awareness pointed to the truth. But even here, a simple question appears: who has to be here and now? In the life's functioning, all three words become excessive, as well as the rituals and reverent ceremonies that are organized and held in the Swami Ramdas ashram.
This institution, Ananda Ashram, was established in 1931 by our revered master, Swami Ramdas and Mother Krishnabai, endearingly called by their devotees as Papa and Mataji. The spiritual discipline that is followed here is Nama Dhyana Seva. That means chanting of God's name to remember Him and to feel His presence everywhere. As we keep on doing it, we will try to know, or we will try to get more and more clarity of interconnectedness, interdependence with the rest of the creation. Is that enough? No. When we keep on knowing about interdependence, interconnectedness, we also become aware how we have been blessed with so many gifts by Mother Nature and society. Everything. The air I breathe, the water I drink, the earth on which I stand, the space in which I move about, the fire that keeps me alive, the sun, the trees, all these are absolutely necessary for my very life. I have not created this. And when I look at the creature comforts which make my life comfortable, none of them have been produced by me. It was produced by somebody else. The innovative, creative idea came up in somebody's mind. And after days, months, years of labor of love, they brought it out. And they gave to the society and using it. So suddenly I realized I owe everything to this creation. How do I pay back? Slowly, we get ourselves relieved from the me and mine. So far I have been thinking only about me and mine. Now when I know that I have been blessed with so many bounteous gifts through nature and society, I start slowly feeling, how do I pay back? How do I pay back? How do I pay back? So the hold of me and mine becomes lesser and lesser. This is what is called the purificatory process. I may not be able to bring out anything like what others did, but I can definitely bring the quality, care and concern in all that I think, in all that I talk, in all that I do. This is what is called purificatory process. When we have sufficiently traveled, then when we close our eyes and chant His name, the usual onrush of dissimilar thoughts will become less and less. And a stage will come when the mind becomes totally quiet with one chanting. At that time the awareness wells up slowly and we become aware of the chanting. Then the question comes, who is aware, who is chanting? Chanting stops. So we are led to the source. So that is called dhyana. Is that enough? No. When these two processes are taken up in right earnest, whatever we do, it becomes service to others. Including our individual thing also happens to be service to others. That means we will not think in terms of me and mine. Anything that is not influenced by me and mine becomes a service. So Nama Dhyana Seva. In this ashram, facilities are provided to touch and kindle these three aspects. Our master dropped the body in 1989. Then Mother Krishnabai became the spiritual head. She dropped the body in 1989. Master dropped in 1963, Master dropped the body in 1963. Mother Krishnabai dropped the body in 1989. Then Swami Satchidananda Ji was our spiritual head. He dropped the body in 2008. When devotees come to know of this, they visit this ashram. They stay for 2 or 3 or 4 days. Try to actualize these things, make an effort to actualize, and then they go back, they try there, again they visit to church. At the time of opening this ashram, our master made it very clear that the aim of this ashram is to spread universal love and service based upon the vision of divinity in others. So in order to have the vision of divinity, he has prescribed this Nama Dhyana Seva. There are 3-4 centers where these activities are going on. One is the shrine, where shrine means the building where they started in 1931. There the program starts at 5 o'clock in the morning, goes on till 9:30 with a few breaks in the afternoon. Then the Samadhi Mandirs, where their body were cremated, there the chanting is going on. Chanting is going on from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. Half an hour gents, half an hour ladies. Then there is a place called Maun Mandir, where we can take to inward journey, dhyana. And seva activities go on silently. These are some of the details about ashram.
Swami Ramdas left his body in 1963. Swamigal. Swamigal is one of the most mysterious figures in the line of Indian saints and sages. Swamigal lived on the shore of a small fishing village, Puntura, not far from Trivandrum, city in the south of India. He adhered to a strict sannyas and became famous as a saint yogi. People say that Swamigal possessed incredible siddhas, supernatural abilities, thanks to which he got many devotees. Major part of the day, Swamigal kept silent, squatting. But he became especially famous after disappearing one fine day all of a sudden. He dissolved in his heart without any trace and forever. Among the devotees of Swamigal, there was an officer called Madhusudanan Pillai. After the disappearance of his guru, Pillai retired and remained in the place where Swamigal had dissolved in the air. He didn't eat solid food, drank only tea, and almost didn't speak. Pillai remained in the hut amidst a pile of rags and only looked at the devotees. Now, this place is marked by a modest hut where Swamigal's portrait is installed. The hut is a sort of built in a huge banyan tree under which Swamigal used to sit. One of the banyan trunks purses the hut itself. Nowadays, the portrait of the former officer, Madhusudanan Pillai, is exhibited in the ashram together with the only Swamigal's photo where he is shown in sitting posture. And even the sculpture Murti of Swamigal is made in this asana. In general, this place is much more modest than many other ashrams of India. Realization is when what you are looking for becomes real for you. Aurobindo The Mother. Aurobindo Ghosh is an Indian thinker, scientist, poet, mystic, philosopher, founder of integral yoga. Aurobindo was born in Calcutta, 15th August 1872, in a rich family and received an excellent education in London and in Cambridge. Returning to India, he arranged a prestigious service with a Maharaja and later became a professor in a college. But during all his youth, Aurobindo passionately supported the idea of total independence of India from Britain. In 1906, he left his post and totally consecrated himself to the politics and struggle against British colonizers. Soon, Aurobindo Ghosh became one of the leaders of Indian national liberation movement. His life was full of danger, sabotage, and other acts of resistance to the British. 3 times he was arrested for conducting subversive activities, but every time he was liberated in the absence of evidence. It so happened that one of the arrests got delayed, and being in solitary confinement, Aurobindo practiced yoga, and spiritual transformation happened to him in prison. Freed from prison, Sri Aurobindo left politics and in 1910 moved to Pondicherry to concentrate on his inner life and spiritual practice. At 40, he developed a new spiritual path, integral yoga, the final aim of which is the transformation of the life force of supramental consciousness. At this time, in the life of Sri Aurobindo appeared his spiritual companion, colleague, French woman Mira Richards, who was declared by Aurobindo Universal Mother, incarnation of female energy, Shakti, in the physical world. Mira Richard was born in Paris, 21st February 1878. She took part in cultural and spiritual life of Paris. Mira came for the first time to Pondicherry in March 1914, but decided to finally settle down there in 1920. Sri Aurobindo considered her as his spiritual companion, deified her and called her briefly Mother. 24th November 1926, when Aurobindo went to a solitude, he left her to work and build an ashram with a community of disciples who gathered around them. Sri Aurobindo died 5th December 1950 and was buried in the ashram. After Aurobindo's death, the mother continued her spiritual work and guided the ashram and her disciples. In the middle of the 1960s, she founded an international settlement, Auroville, under the auspices of UNESCO for the human unity not far from Pondicherry. It was supposed to become a place where men and women all over the world have a possibility to live in peace and harmony, a place for all confessions and nationalities out of politics. The town was founded in 1968. It was a symbolic ceremony in which representatives of 121 nations and of all Indian states put soil from their places to the urn in the center of the settlement. With tremendous efforts, the followers of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother erected the first buildings of Auroville. An imposing golden ball Mantri Mandir became the crown of their efforts. Auroville continues to develop and at present counts about 1,700 members from 35 countries. Now, Auroville has a museum dedicated to Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Sri Aurobindo's statue is placed at the entrance of the museum. The exposition has a great number of photos reflecting the way of life of Aurobindo and the Mother, as well as photos depicting the construction of Auroville. The museum building consists of spacious halls, bright meditation and lecture rooms, almost always empty and deserted. The Mother died in Pondicherry, 17 November 1973, aged 95. 3 days after her death, her body was placed in Samadhi next to Sri Aurobindo in their ashram. Presently, there are many visitors in Aurobindo ashram. People come to bow to the ashes of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Ashram in Pondicherry is surrounded by a high-def fence. The central place of the ashram is a shrine under a big tree. Photo and video shooting is strictly prohibited at the ashram's territory. Aurobindo left behind numerous works of prose and poetry, among which the most famous are The Life Divine, Synthesis of Yoga and Savitri. Idea, I. Roles performed, I. Film director, I. Cameraman, I. Film editor, I. Translator, I. Text read, I. Music, I. Text preparation, I. Producer, I. Indian masters and their ashrams. End of the second part.